Hey guys, what's up? Dottz here. Today we're going to be doing another Ashes of Creation Alpha 2 video review. You guys have been seeming to like those. We clipped them from my stream last time. This one I'm just going to be recording on the side myself, so there will be no chat tonight. But we're just going to be doing the Alpha 2 gathering updates, kind of going over those, see what we think. And then also for another video that I'm going to have come out soon, I'm going to go over the new Cleric update. Just because, because I've actually been covering Ashes a little bit here on the channel, it would feel weird to not cover such a big update and my thoughts on it after, such a big bit of news was revealed. But because that stream was really long, I'm going to probably just kind of skip through it. I believe there's a video that I have scheduled out that someone made that's like a summary on it. So obviously credit where credit's due for them. We'll review the summary, but then I'm just going to kind of skip through the main VOD. But that's for a different video. Today, we're going to be looking at the gathering updates for Ashes of Creation Alpha 2. So let's see how they look. I'm just going to hopefully have the volume at a good amount here. Skip a little bit ahead. I'm interested to see the gathering.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another glorious live stream day. I'm super excited to be with you guys, show you what we've been working on, and I have the
I still love the environmental effects in this game. It looks so good.
Two of our stellar developers helping bring the world of Vera to life for all of us. One of our glorious designers, Mr. Corey. How are you doing, Corey?
Hello, Corey.
I'm doing great. Super excited to be here.
Excited to have you here. I'm excited to go through.
Probably going to be skipping ahead in a hot second
and get some awesome feedback on the changes that have happened.
I don't think they start gathering until another 4
last
minutes.
year to a lot of.
We got a developer with us. Let's skip ahead to the stuff.
And
all right, so here we go. Let's go chop down a tree. As we can see, this is where the good stuff is.
That I have played a lot of MMOs. I've played a lot of games.
Okay, Steven.
And I don't think I have ever seen a tree fall to this high of a visual fidelity standard.
Okay, that's pretty impressive because I think New World's tree falling is pretty good, and just the gathering in New World, I think a lot of people can agree is top notch. I think just the visuals and the audio of the gathering in New World it's some of the best. So that's a pretty big thing to say. So hopefully it delivers.
Let me just chop this down, and then we can talk about what it took to get here. All right? Does this tree look good? Should we chop this one down?
Looks great.
How's the angle here? We're gonna get a nice view.
No sunbeams. No sunbeams.
Right, let's just chop it.
I love the new UI.
Oh, I know. And the sound. Get ready. It's happening. Oh my gosh. Look at the dust kick up. Look at the...
All right, we're going to watch that one more time, and then I'm going to give my thoughts.
The new UI.
Little bit of good, little bit of bad.
And the sound.
We're going to do the whole thing.
How's the angle here? We're going to get a nice view.
Yeah, we got sunbeam. I complained about it. Let's chop this tree down.
I love the new UI.
Oh, I know. And the sound. Get ready. It's happening. Oh my god.
The dust kick up is pretty cool.
Look at the dust kick up. Look at the canopy of the tree get impacted and when it falls. Wait. That's not all. As it dissolves, it comes back and it grows. And of course, we are speeding up this growth stage, right, Alex?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to listen to what Alex says in a second. But what do I think about the trees and the wood cutting? I have to say the audio and visual of the tree falling better than New World. I think it is. Sometimes if you guys have chopped trees in New World, you know that they can kind of fall a little bit weird, sometimes get a little bit glitchy on the way down. However, I think New World's axe audio while cutting the tree itself blows this out of the water. Like, I thought the actual sound of the axe hitting the tree was not that great. Where New Worlds is just chef's kiss. It's just so good. But this game, the audio of the tree falling and the visuals of the tree falling, in my opinion, a little bit better. So I think if they can work on the audio feedback of the axe chopping animations. I thought looked really good too. I didn't really have anything to say about those, but I think if they could work on the audio of the axe actually hitting the tree, that's some quality wood cutting right there, dude.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Some quality ass
we're
wood cutting.
speeding this up now to give you guys an idea of
That
how
is
these
super
assets regrow
cool.
in the world. And Alex, talk to me a little bit about what it took to get that physics-based collision.
We'll listen to it a little bit, but I'm mostly
working
here
like
just
that,
to look at
was
it.
Impressive.
That was really cool.
Oh, let me just begin with the amount of visibility reviews we had to go through in order to achieve this.
I remember when I first talked to you about having the canopy get rigged and and actually have that physics component. I think your eyes grew like 50% wider.
I mean,
That's hard to do.
Physics is a wild beast. It's very hard to tame,
Yeah, I bet.
especially in MMOs.
Yeah, absolutely. So what exactly did it take to make that
Chop another tree.
that canopy fold like that?
Yeah, the wood cutting
basically
audio
what
is just
happens is when
it's
you
just
chop
not
down
there. The wood kind of coming off the tree as you pull your axe back, I think, is really good. It's just the audio of the axe hitting the tree just
tree,
to me
we
leaves
swap
something to be
out,
desired.
the static mesh that you see in front of you.
The
To a
tree
skeleton
falling though
mesh,
is just so good.
which then we simulate physics. to
Oh, the
force,
physics on the
to the
tree
direction
when
we
it
want the
falls
tree
is
to fall.
so good.
And when the tree falls down, we have colliders
Wow.
on tree branches that impact the ground, and as that impacts the ground, it also impacts the stem of the tree, and making this effect that you just saw.
Wow.
I mean, it looks
That looks
great.
fucking awesome.
Honestly, I mean, have you guys ever played an MMO with that type of tree visual?
No. No, I have not. That's really impressive. I want to see the mining. But that's really cool. That's really impressive that they were able to make the tree fall, have the branches move like that when they hit the
Definitely not.
ground, have the
Usually
tree
just
go
mostly
back.
animations, or
The
it just
audio,
converts
it
straight into
falls a
lumber,
perfect
and then they
distance.
just,
It's
you know,
really
just
impressive.
drops.
Yeah,
Like I
what
said,
I'm
it's just the
accustomed
wood
to
cutting
is, like,
audio
just
itself
watching the branches
leaves
kind
something
of,
to be desired.
intersect through the ground.
But I do also like how when you pull the axe back, you get the wood splinters come out. So
After
visually
it falls, and then it
and
just
audio of the tree
disappears.
falling,
But of
great.
course, as you guys know,
very, very good.
in building Ashes, we're really aiming for a very high visual fidelity bar.
They've achieved
and
that
I
so
think
far. The
this
world
type of
looks
system really
amazing.
complements that goal. It's incredibly immersive, and it feels good. Now, of course, this
I like
stuff
the
is
wood
all
chips when
work
they
in
land on the
progress
ground,
still,
too.
right?
Ooh, what
This
happens
is-
when it hits the
uh-oh,
rock?
this is gonna land. Let's see that physics. Okay. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, that one branch clipped a little bit, but like, that was
This
impressive.
is where I was telling you about taming the physics.
Exactly.
It's
That
a fickle
felt pretty good.
beast.
Now, of course,
That looks great.
There's a lot.
Not only
that
it doesn't
goes
even matter if that one
into-
branch clips. It looked good when it hit
into
the rock, moved
making
the side.
a world that's filled with this amount of resources that can be gathered. Corey, talk to me a little bit about what this change in really widening up the amount of resources and changing those classifications to general resources that are harvestable. What does that look like from
The
an
cutting
economy
animation looks really good, though.
Well, I mean, it allows us to leverage some of our other systems. Like one of our previous live streams was about seasons, right? And the changes that could come from seasons.
Yes.
Do it.
What could be growing?
Mine
what could
the
be
rock.
dropping in this season versus another one, right?
Steven.
The change to have everything that you see gatherable kind of allows us to attach the changes that you see during the seasons to all the gatherables that you see. So the information that you learn from season to season and about each allows us to attach the changes that you see during the seasons to all the gatherables that you see. So the information.
I think the visuals of the rock coming apart definitely very realistic, and I do like that. I think the visuals so far of the crafting they've really nailed down. I don't know. I think I still, even with the audio of the mining, I just feel like New World's got it, man. Like, I remember the first time, and I'm sure many of you feel similarly, the first time I like gathered like ore in New World, and you took your pickaxe and you hit the rock, and you just had that echo and just the sound. It was just so immersive. And like, it's not like the mining sound isn't like bad.
What could be growing, what could be dropping in this season versus
it's just not
one,
great.
Right?
Definitely better than the wood cutting sound, I would say.
The change to have everything that you see gatherable kind of
you know, like, okay, I got to give it a little bit more credit. I think it's not bad. I just think maybe I like a little bit more of the echo and reverb that New Worlds has, but that wasn't bad. That was pretty good. I think the wood cutting sound was, but that wasn't bad. I still think it could use a little bit more oomph to it, but not bad.
During the seasons,
I'm interested to see how the rocks come back, though. That's one thing about New World's Gathering that I can't stand is how the rocks come back. Drives me insane.
Will be valuable to you as a gatherer,
right.
And
yeah, absolutely.
Oh no! Okay, this does sound better. Maybe it was just a camera angle or something. That sounded good.
Like, for example, looking at this rock here,
yes,
I don't know what that rock is before I actually complete the harvest.
Oh, you can't prospect.
Harvest, I see that I collected basalt in the bottom right-hand corner.
Interesting.
Talk to me a little bit about kind of that decision.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, totally. So you know, there's a bunch of different things in ashes that will be gatherable, right? We have plants and trees and rocks and fish and that animals and creatures that can be tamed, right? And you know, we're thinking to reach the visual fidelity bar and to have things a little bit more rooted in what.
I think I take back what I said about the mining sound. New Worlds does have that reverb and greater sound to it, but this isn't bad. This actually is pretty good. I think it's just kind of like a difference of what you want to hear from your audio, but this actually is good. I still can't get there on the woodcutting sound. I do think it needs to be improved, but it's growing on me the more I listen to it.
What we know is that it wouldn't really make sense for you to just see gold all over the world the same way that you would, like, you know,
fair
plants and trees. So,
very fair.
We wanted to get feedback on what players think about you know, some of the different gatherable types having kind of different things that you would have to know and expect from them. So rocks are a good example of this, where, you know, you can see a rock, but until you crack that thing open, you don't know if it's full of stone, crystals, rubies, gold. So
I think from a realism perspective, I really like that. I think that is really cool. However, something that could be cool to add, by no means mandatory, would be like a prospecting kind of perk, where maybe if your mining is high enough of a level or something, you can prospect the rock prior to mining it and see, like, oh, it has this inside. Not mandatory, but just an idea. But I kind of like that. Just, you know, if they're going for that more realistic open world, which it really seems like that is something they're trying to push a lot with the physics and just the, you know, the seasons, the way they're implementing everything. I mean, it does make a lot of sense. You know, if there was just a gold vein out in the world, people would, you know, kind of be flocking to it, you know. But having it this way, I feel like really adds to the realism of the Ashes world. So I'm not against it. I think it's a move that makes the gathering a little bit more interesting, you know. Adds another dimension.
We wanted to try that out with some of our gatherables to have players have to open this thing up, and that's not to say that we players won't stumble on a nice lode or vein or geode of gold, but most of the stuff that they would find in the world, unless they look hard enough, would require them to crack that stone open.
Okay. Right, and of course, there are additional systems, some that we haven't really gone into too much detail on, but as an example, surveying can play a key role.
Is this what I just
helping
said?
Players to identify locations of rare resources within an area. Is that correct?
Similar to what I said.
Definitely.
Talk to me a little bit about surveying.
Yes, I'd actually really like to hear that.
So surveying is a way that players can check out an area for resources. Players can learn where resources are that are static and that grow back in the same location. but we'll also have resources in Ashes that can spawn anywhere. So surveying will help players locate.
Just to pause, I do wish they showed us the rock respawning. I kind of wanted to see what that looked like.
Those resources. So if they're looking for something specific, they can hunt them down. Surveying will also allow players to uncover hidden resources that players wouldn't be able to see with their naked eye. Another thing that surveying would provide is some of the information that we were talking about before, right?
Like the rock breaking animation looks so good.
If you survey and inside of your survey area, there's plants. You might learn when that plant, what season that plant likes to grow in.
Oh, that's cool.
You might learn whether it likes to be watered during the winter versus how it likes to be watered
for when you're
summer.
Mining looks really good too.
Or
when you're woodcutting too, like the little circle at the bottom.
The interior of this rock now has ore in it.
Yeah, see, you found one with some iron. So not all those rocks are
cool.
just slabs of basalt. You might find some iron.
I want to see it
maybe
respawn,
some gold,
brother.
Maybe some copper. We'll see.
Oh, that is super cool. This one was also iron. Very nice.
It looks like you found a little iron deposit there.
And so when players interact with the survey system, talk to me a little bit about what that interaction looks like. What exactly does the survey gameplay layer feel like?
Yeah, so
Good question.
You'd work with a surveying tool, and you set the.
I do have to say, just to cut in before we get into this, I like how this video is formatted compared to some of their other updates. I feel like a lot of the other updates recently, there was like a lot of skipping around that I felt like I needed to do when I was watching the videos. But this one, it's like I skipped to 5 minutes when this started, and then for the last 8 minutes, it's been good content. I haven't felt the need to skip one, so this video is formatted really well.
The surveying tool down.
Really good
and
update.
That tool would have a specific area in which it's able to uncover and extract information about the resources that are in the area. So as a starting out gatherer, you might end up with one of the tools, right? But as you progress and become more proficient with using the tool, you might be able to set up additional pylons and extend the area of your survey.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, pylons. So, right, and so that allows you to start kind of making shapes and having more strategic areas that you're surveying. Right? If you could connect multiple pylons to create a shape, maybe you could follow the twisting caverns of a cave. Maybe if you're out in the open like we are here, you could just try and make yourself a nice widened shape to scan as much of the area as possible. So it'll be up to the player to be tricky with their surveying tool to try and get the most efficiency out of their survey.
Okay, I would like to point out one thing.
The flowers or leaves falling off that plant was really cool. Audio doesn't sound bad. Maybe I misunderstood this, and I would love you guys to give me the feedback down in the comments. Does the survey stuff, is that like static, where like you kind of place your survey down and you're like surveying that area? Or is that something I guess you can move around or like place on your map? Because I understand that he's like, you can place the pylons to follow a cave, which I think is super cool. But it almost makes it sound like it's a stationary thing. And you're like, well, this is the area that I survey. And like it stays there. So is that like a permanent thing, or could you pick it up and move it? Like, if anybody knows, please let me know.
Is that, are these apple bushes?
Yeah, that was interesting.
I'm collecting apples, and they're like from a bush.
They are from a bush.
That is awesome.
Quality fucking apple bush there, buddy. Let's go.
This is Vera. There are apples that grow on bushes.
We're not Kansas anymore there, bud.
I think is one that's really cool because it also all is a part of this kind of cohesive land management system, right? Is that resources spawn at a set rate, and that rate can be influenced by how other players are interfacing with the resource system within a given area. Okay. And if there is a high traffic and a high volume of interaction that is yielding these general resources or more specific and bespoke resources, then that can have a deleterious effect on the land management score of the area. And how does that affect the
Like they're
resource
over
spawn?
farming it or something.
Yeah, it could be positive or negative or both simultaneously. So the land health value, right, ties into the health of a specific ecosystem, and the ecosystem can kind of scale with different segment sizes
I
of
was
the
so
world.
wrong about the mining. It
The
sounds
world
great.
itself, a biome, maybe a node, maybe a player's freehold. And the things that a player does in those areas will contribute to health in a positive or negative way. So, doing something like rotating your crops might increase the
Oh, it sounds
the
like you're
health
gonna
of the
get
land,
player
because
farming.
that's considered something good to do. And maybe apprehending or removing poachers that are overhunting a certain species could be helpful
Oh.
to the health of the land. Maybe the
Wonder if that's
mayor
NPCs or
puts
players.
out a request for players to try and get rid of invasive species that are plants. Maybe they're
What?
overgrowing weed, and it's stopping other
Overgrowing
valuable
weed?
plants from growing. Yes.
That's fucking badass. That is immersive, man. I wonder if they would do something similar with animals, like, hey, there's like too many bears coming into this area and killing like the deer or whatever, and we need the deer meat. Like, kill the bear population off or something. Just like as an example. That is awesome. That's crazy, dude, that they're able to implement that. I love that. That's so
And,
interesting.
yeah. So every action would feed into a positive.
And the
thing
weather's
in-
gonna play
in
on that
one
too.
area
That's
for
super
the health
fucking
of the
cool.
land, but it could also have repercussions at another, right? If you overhunt predators, the prey have no
That too.
have no
Natural predators.
Picking them off.
Yep. Keep
so
them in line.
the spawn rates of those those rabbits that the
That
wolves
fucking
usually
mic,
take
dude.
care of could go up. And maybe if you overhunt the rabbits, the wolves want to find another place to go. So
Wow. That's so cool. See, I asked about
ecosystem
that.
health and land health system allows us to really root players into the world and learn about their
Wow.
surroundings, learn about what
That's sick, dude.
repercussions their actions have, and work together to work within and manipulate that system.
Right, are you telling me if my land management is poor and I cut down all the trees, my land would just be barren for like long periods of time?
Ooh.
Yeah, it could definitely extend the amount of time that it would take for what you want to grow back.
Oh, that's cool.
That is pretty cool. And that is another component of how player activity or actions within the world have a visible and systemic effect on that world's economy. And that helps to simulate the ebb and flow of supply chains.
That's true, because if an area is over-farmed, right, let's say it's over-farmed for wood or something, now, once that, let's say you cut down all the trees in an area, right, you sell the wood to other players, but now because that area got completely wiped out, all the trees, now slowly over time, the price of wood in that area is going to go up. And so now you're going to need to transport wood from other places to there. Then you get the PvP system and the caravans. That's so cool, dude. I didn't expect to see out of the Gathering update. I can't say I expected to see all these systems really start to tie together just from a Gathering update. It's pretty cool, man. It's good shit.
Of the prevalence in the locality of certain resources being depleted, and having extended periods of time where the players go without that, and that can spur the need for transiting materials across the world, right?
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
That is pretty cool.
Very
So you're
cool.
saying I'm gonna have to travel to other nodes and steal their lumber?
Cut down their trees, yeah.
Well, now that's a decision you need to make.
If you need any help with that,
Yes.
you can recruit me.
So I see here that we have a particular type of flower that I believe only spawns in winter. Is that right?
Yeah, totally. This is the gloomy pros, and it's a beautiful flower, but it can only be found in winter. So,
Oh,
Nice. Those are some pretty cool
the,
effects.
I love the effect that that flower just got wrecked.
yeah, it's doing work.
Get fucked, flower.
Let me see if we can watch that flower regrow here. Does it regrow?
Footprints in
Flower.
the snow look
Of course.
good.
Yeah, it definitely should.
Are you coming back, little flower? Oh, there it is. We found it.
Why didn't he show
Oh,
us
it's in
the
a bulb
mining,
state.
though,
I can't
guys?
interact
Why?
with it yet. That is so cool.
I would have
It's not
loved to
ready
see
if
it.
You want the petals, so.
Oh yeah, and then actually to add to this, each state has its own physics profile. Like you saw trees, like you saw the flowers right here, and some profiles might not have any collision, and some might have. So for example, as for trees, sapling stage requires no collision, but the young stage will have a collision which you no longer can, go through.
Oh, that is pretty cool. Now, Slurpee,
Interesting.
I mean, sorry. Slurpee is his gamer tag. Alex, talk to me a little bit about what you had to do to kind of make all of this performant, right? When you're creating an environment with so many of these terrain actors, these foliage actors being interactable, that
That's
can
a
have
lot.
some potential performance issues. How did you go about addressing that?
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
you're correct. This is a very difficult task, and luckily for us, in Real 4 and Real 5 provide tools for environment artists called Foliage tool, where you can just paint like trees, paint flowers, paint rocks, like everything you see, and it's very, very performant because artists paint thousands of them, right? And to make the world very immersive, to make world believable. So what we've done is we basically used the same system and introduced a few states. And the main point of that was to make it as seamless as possible for environment art to play.
I would like to see a mounting animation. Granted, I know game's still early, alpha, all that jazz, but because they're going for such like a realism approach to the game, I feel like a mounting animation could be cool, kind of like BDO type of deal.
Place those assets in the world and design being able to modify those data points to make it transition between states.
Guild Wars 2 is another good example.
That's pretty cool. And obviously, when you have
Yeah, it's crazy that it's not going to
hundreds
impact the
of different
performance of all that
players
stuff.
that
nuts.
might be within close proximity as you, and they're all in this environment interacting with those different elements of the terrain, those different resources and gatherables. This is a nice way for us to ensure that performance is still good.
Correct. I think the biggest thing would be here also networking, is being able to have as less data as possible to send to the clients, so it's more performant on the server.
If you guys have watched my channel for a while, you obviously know what past games I've been involved with. And just hearing an early alpha game being developed with such a performance consideration in mind, oh man, makes me so happy, dude. Really does. Like, I'm just so happy to see them worried, concerned about performance and making sure that everything we do, the game still runs well, the performance is good. Like, I've said this from the beginning about Ashes, that I know in some of my videos, and some people haven't liked it, I have been, critical on certain things. I've raised questions, stroked my beard, raised an eyebrow to certain things. Just because I wasn't sure how they were going to work, because they were either ambitious, really different, and so obviously I was suspicious and need to get my hands on them to really test it. But one thing I've said about Ashes and Intrepid, and I've stayed very consistent on, is that I like the things that their dev team says. There's really not a lot that these guys have said that I'm like, I don't know about that, like, just the way that they speak and the things that they're focused on and their priorities and their worries really seem to be oriented in the right place. And just, again, hearing them concerned and talking about performance and saying, when we add all of these things, we want to make sure that player performance is good, that a lot of people could be jammed in one area doing this thing, makes me so happy to hear.
That's cool. One other thing I want to talk about is
Love seeing dismounting animation
here,
too.
And I want to show you guys this.
If possible.
That when you chop down this tree, previously you had seen it kick up dust that was relevant
Does
for
it
the
kick
season
up snow?
in the area.
Yo, that'd
And
be
now
so
what
sick.
happens when we chop this tree down in winter? Let us see.
I hope it doesn't hit the deer.
That would be unfortunate. I also hope it doesn't hit. Okay, we're good. We're good. You're
We're
good,
fine.
dear. Don't you worry. It kicks up snow. What is that?
Bruh.
Is that a sandal? Is that a sandal scarecrow?
Looks like it.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
sandal scarecrow. Oh, and we're in the face.
That looked
I
awesome,
think there was a
dude.
collision of the skeleton mesh that you're wearing.
That was cool. This is awesome. Oh, I
Nice-
love
nice
that.
casual
That is
flip-flop
so
out in the
cool.
world, don't
A
mind
sandal
me.
Scarecrow. Oh, and it's growing back. Yeah, that is super cool.
Wow, that's really sick.
So there are really two main points of player feedback from this demonstration that I want you guys in the community to think about when you are talking about what you saw today.
Yes, please. This
The first one
such
is
a well-made video.
how do you guys feel about the change that is incorporating a much higher amount of gatherable gatherables in the environment, right? Now, obviously, like I said,
I'll wait till he
these
finishes.
are general resources that are primarily geared towards construction and development of nodes, the transit of materials across the world through caravans, repairs, and then they are general resources
Makes sense that they'll be
that
plentifully
are
available then.
used in a much more foundational way of creating higher tier mats that then get used in recipes as well. But how do you guys feel about that broadening of the resources available?
I think it's good. I mean, I think that makes a lot of logical sense. You know, that you would put a high amount of basic ore, basic wood, plants, and stuff that, you know, that are for the things that are the most used. Like you said, you know, constructing your settlements, building this, building that, like that logically makes a ton of sense. And I think it's a really, really good idea. You know, you don't want your basic building materials to be something that isn't readily available, because then it's like, well, why did we choose to build our settlement out of this rare ass material versus something more basic? You know, so I think that makes a lot of logical sense personally. And plus, if you do over farm and over, you know, you overlog or over mine an area, you might have a little bit of a shortage, and then you got to go somewhere else and start pulling from another node or another area. You know, I think the whole system makes a lot of sense and is really tied together very, very nicely. Very, very, very nicely. I think this is great, honestly. I think it's really cool. I like it a lot.
Out in the wild. And then the second thing that we want to get feedback on. What was the second thing we wanted to get feedback on?
It's a good question. You haven't asked yet.
The visual fidelity that we're trying to reach.
Oh, right. Yes, the visual fidelity.
I love
How do you
the wood
guys
chips on the
feel
ground.
about the visual fidelity of these trees and the rocks that are... Oh my gosh, this one is going to take a while. Get ready for it.
It's a big tree.
It's a...
Timber!
Timber! Oh my gosh. Now, of course, there are some things that you guys are not seeing here because they're not yet implemented.
Oh?
But professions will, of course, introduce layers of accessibility based on the type of resource, the size of particular resources. Isn't that right, Corey?
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
definitely. Yeah, your progression within the profession will take account what tools you can use, There might
Just
even be
bigger
some
trees,
opportunity
bigger
to
ore, maybe?
do
Yeah.
some gathering with other players. Typically in other
Two-handed
games that I
logging,
played, you
maybe.
usually do the gathering alone. You're venturing around alone, and we wanted to take a look at maybe having a friend help you with a two-person saw on a larger tree.
Hell yeah.
Maybe there's
So far, the only negative criticism that I have, now that I've seen all of the gathering, the only negative criticism I have is I just think the wood cutting sound needs work. Like the actual axe hitting the tree. Mining sounds and looks great. Thought harvesting sounded and looks great. The audio of the tree falling and visuals of it look great. The visuals of you swinging your axe and getting the wood chips when you pull back looks great. For me, it's literally just the audio of the axe swinging that I don't particularly like. I just don't think it sounds like you're chopping down a tree. But otherwise, man, it looks and sounds fantastic. I think the visual fidelity is great.
some panning that you could do as opposed to just hitting ore with a pickaxe. So we'll have other tools that are part of that progression path, and then other activities that players can do if they would like to gather together.
Lit.
That is pretty cool. And then on top of that, progression
progress
within
bar at the bottom
your
looks good.
profession can also speed up the gathering times that you have.
Cool.
And another important note is that, like, as these resources reach different stages of their maturity in coming back, right? You see that
Okay.
plant kind of growing back.
Yeah.
You could potentially access the resources at earlier stages as well by having high advancement within a certain profession. Is that correct?
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. The speed, the time at which you're able to access them, maybe the amount that the thing yields will all kind of tie into your expertise at that individual gathering profession, and also the things that you're using to do the gathering.
Oh, can I highlight one additional thing?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I love the new UI for interaction.
Yeah, thank you so much to
Yeah, I think it looks
Toby
great.
and Natalie and Jeff and all the UI team. And I would take this opportunity to thank engineering and art at Tech Art too. Like, Stephen had mentioned that we came with the crazy idea of reaching this visual fidelity bar, and me as being a gathering player myself, like, I spend a whole lot of time.
I think the UI is looking really good. I think, I've touched on it in the combat video. I'd like to see a little bit of an improvement on the nameplates. But otherwise, yeah, I think the UI is really coming along nice.
Exploring the world and doing gathering, and it means a whole lot to me that it looks good, that it feels good and roots me in the world, right? When players spend hundreds or thousands
Also, that
of
elk
hours
looks
exploring around,
fucking
and,
awesome.
Each time they interact with these things over and over again, they just disappear, or there's not the level of touch that we're trying to put on here. It doesn't feel quite right. So the fact that everyone kind of rallied together to offer something like this, like,
absolutely,
it just makes me super excited to play the game.
That's a guy who fucking loves this job. You could just hear it, in his voice. He's just jazzed. It's just so cool to see, man.
I want to play the game.
I know. We all want to play the game.
Let us sing,
Yes.
Steven. Let us sing.
What a guy, dude. Good
guys are
shit.
the
You'd love to
guts of
hear it.
Come on now. Okay. There is one other thing I want to talk about is also how you guys feel about the interaction of surveying with revealing resources within the world. And without that element, for example, what we showed you today with mining, you may not know what you're going to.
So I thought it was cool, not necessarily knowing what like an ore is or what's there, and having to like prospect or survey. I think is cool. I'll admit I didn't fully understand their explanation on surveying. So again, if you guys did, please let me know below. Depending on how that's implemented, I think it could be cool, but I do kind of like the realism. I do kind of like the realism of not necessarily knowing what you're going to get out of the rock when you go to mine. It kind of is consistent with Ash's theme, especially for the
until
world.
You complete that harvesting action. How are you guys feeling about that? We think that it creates an interesting dynamic between utilizing resources necessary to initiate that surveying sequence and what it represents for players as they choose to spend their time and or the meaningful choice they might make in moving to a particular area based on what resources are available in that location and discovering that through the surveying system.
Yeah, I think it
that's
works
another
with
point of feedback that
with
we wanna
their
collect,
world and what they're
from you
going
guys.
for and their
So,
goals. I really think it
with
does.
that being said, are there anything else that you guys want to chat about before we close off?
Sounds like that's going to be it.
I think we covered it all. Just
Think that's about it, but really good video, man. This was a really good showcase. We learned a lot about the game. I thought this was a really, really good highlight. This was really good stuff. Really, really like this. I think the gathering and the world building, just the whole world building and how this is all going to tie together with some of the other player systems in the game. I think it really, it's all the completed picture is starting to come together. And like I said, I didn't expect to see impacts on PvP and economy and stuff coming from just a gathering update. So this was a hell of a video. Really, really liked it. Really enjoyed it. I think the only negative thing I would have to say is probably in regards to the woodcutting sound. Just the axe hitting the tree. But everything else in this video, top notch, man. It's looking good. Can't wait to see it as it gets closer. But if you guys like this video, like this review of the Ashes gathering stuff, please leave a like on it. Definitely comment below thoughts about the surveying, thoughts about the gathering for yourself. What do you guys think about this and what we reviewed today? Subscribe for more MMO content, Ashes reviews, WoW guides, ESO guides, BDO guides, just all good MMO stuff. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Appreciate y'all stopping by and spending some of your day with me today. As always, I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.